Hi everyone, good evening. In this session, welcome to Gnan Cloud Garage. In this session, I'm going to talk about VMware interview preparation, and this is session 2. It's mainly used for the technical consultant, system engineer, and solutions architect. So here is the agenda. So agenda is mainly focused on the few questions. So most before attending answering all the questions, the first of all we first prepare or get ready for the interview. And one common question for any interview is tell me about yourself or explain about day-to-day responsibilities. And I will provide you some sample format in this session. And what are the technical consultant roles and organization roles sample format, and what is the evolution of IT infrastructure, and what is the evolution of cloud-based models, and what is the evolution of modern application. These three are the very important questions. I will give you the high level overview and it will help you while attending the interviews. And another question, important question is what is a software defined data center, and VMware technical consultant key objectives, and what are the key areas for technical consultant role, and also how to become a solution architect, and what are the solution architect key responsibilities, and what are the key items for project handover checklist. So this is the agenda for today. Now let's start with the first point, get ready for the interview. So when we are attending an interview, we have to prepare for all the information before our actual interview schedule. So the first key point here is review the job description and requirements. So job description have all our clear information what is the roles and responsibilities we are going to perform on our new organization. So just thoroughly review all the job description, each and every point. It may have some of the new skill set and also some process oriented questions. Some information is clearly mentioned in the job description, so better to review the job description first, and then review the resume and curriculum vitae prior to the interview. We have to verify all our resume before attend the interview. Just go through the resume from top to bottom and verify that all the information is up to date or not. And if you have any technical skills information in your resume, let's say your resume is running with ESXS 6.7 version, or already we have a ESX7. So update with the latest versions. And similarly for other tools also. Suppose if you are mention your CV is running with vRealize Automation 8.3, but our vRealize Automation already we have a 8.8 version. So you can include the latest versions also in your CV. And if you have experience is around 8 years of experience, but correctly, accurately, you can calculate your total IT experience and you can mention your IT experience. If you have only 1 year, you can mention 1 year IT experience, and make sure that your CV or resume, all the points should be up to date and it should be accurate. Okay. And another item is identify areas to be explored further, like gaps in information. Because if you have any career gap or if you have any educational gaps, this gap information we may expect from the interviewer when they review your CV. You may expect this is also one of the questions. Suppose if you do not have any gaps in your education and also your professional experience, definitely they won't ask this question. But who have any gaps in their career, either in the education or professional experience stage, we may expect that gap information question. Okay. And also experience information, and also the competencies means skills. And review the suggested interview format and time allocation. So interview format, it's generally it's a vary from organization to organization. Some organization may conduct initially written tests and followed by interview and then finally salary discussion. But some companies without written tests, they will take only the face to face interviews. That interviews can be a technical round, manager round, and finally HR round. But some big organization the process may vary. So just understand the interview format structure when you are attending for any organization. So how many rounds of interviews they have, thoroughly prepare the specific process. And also time allocation. Some interviews they may arrange for a 30 minutes, some may arrange for 45 minutes, and max 1 to 1.5 hours only, usually the interview time. Okay, so within the time frame you can prepare some common questions so that it will give you a confidence while attending the interviews. And prepare for the common interview questions. These questions are like a common question every time any interview. The first question will be like an introductory question, or some may directly ask with start with a technical questions, basic technical questions first. Once we answer the basic questions, then they will go for a scenario based questions. And if even you are able to answer the scenario based questions, they may go for a technical deep dive questions. Okay, even if you answer technical deep dive question, they may go for another level like a design related questions, and also the architectural implementation related questions they will ask. And once they satisfy, they will conclude the interview session. Okay, so be ready with your common questions also. It will be help you to clear the interview. And based on the identified competencies topics, let's say competencies means maybe if you are attending for a some technical consultant role, and you have a OS knowledge, Windows and Linux, and you have more knowledge on Windows and minimal knowledge on Linux, and another your virtualization core competency is VMware. So most of the time the interviewers may ask in the sequential manner. They will ask from your OS questions first and followed by VMware questions. But some interviewers, can pick the any topic randomly. So we should be identified our competency topics, and if you are very familiar with that topic, you can clearly give the straight away accurate answer. If you are not sure, definitely spontaneously you can say I'm not having any experience on this scenario, so that nothing to worry. Immediately they will go for a another questions. Okay, and another point is, tell me about your key responsibilities in your current and most recent position. So this is also all your responsibilities you can able to explain. But some interviewers, it may tweak, and they may tweak this point, like they will ask, what is your last week activities. So last week means the entire last week, all your activities you can able to explain. And once you explain your last week activities, they may ask the another subsequent question is like, can you explain your last month activities. So with the week and month activities, they can understand what is your scope of your work in your current organization, and they will also validate that these skills are accurate to their new role. If they satisfy, definitely you will be shortlisted. But while explanation, if you are explaining for a weekly activity, you can mention some of the points more relevant to the week activities, like preparing the weekly reports and attending for the weekly customer meetings, like that you can include. Suppose for the monthly, if they specifically ask for what you did for last month in your organization, for last month means you can focus on the monthly related task, like every month we will validate the monthly backup reports for all our production workloads or all our production virtual machine. And also we'll prepare a monthly reports for all infrastructures availability and performance reports. So these points you can include. Okay, and if you have any other additional activities for monthly and weekly, you can include. Okay, and why did you apply for this position? Even this question also they won't ask directly why did you apply. Sometimes they may ask in a different way also. But the scenario is like, this question how we can answer is depends on my technical skill set and experience. I'm the right person for this position, like that we can answer. And also process the example using star. Star is one of the best technique when we are attending for your interviews. Star, yes means it's like a situation, T means a task, A means action, and R means result. So whatever the scenario interviewer asks, all this scenario you can frame it like a one storyboard, and you can explain the story. Start with a situation, so and so situation, this is the task I performed, and again these actions we break it into the multiple actions, and I delegate it to my team members. Finally the end result will be the issue is back to normal state. Like that every scenario or any type of technical questions, if you frame your sentences in a star format, it will be very informative, and it will be not only informative, impressive by the interviewer. Okay, so interviewer can impress your answer, and it will help you to shortlist your profile. Okay, and this is about the how we are getting ready for the interview. And now let's talk about the tell me about yourself question now. So tell me about yourself. Most of the interviews, this is the first question in general, but some interviews, instead of asking the tell me about yourself, they may ask starts with like a, can you explain what is your day-to-day activities? Or sometime they may ask in the, as I mentioned, they may ask like, can you explain your last week activities? Like that also they can ask. But the scenario is introductory question is common. So for this introductory question, we have to start with like a, we can start with current company, our total IT experience, and you can include your role and role, all your responsibilities. And then apart from your roles and responsibilities, if you have any additional technical skills, those technical skills also you can include in the interview. And finally, before conclude your entire tell me about yourself question, finally you can include whatever achievements you done recently, all your achievements like a professional certifications, or if you receive any awards from your organization, you can include those achievements in the interview. And finally you can just wish them with a thank you note, and so that you can conclude that question. Okay, I am trying to show you one sample format now. So tell me about yourself, sample format. So in this sample format, the first key point here is, in any interview, first we can start with our organization name. Like currently I'm associated with so and so organization. So whatever organization you're working, you can mention your organization name as a, and you also mention your actual designation or role. Suppose I give an example here as Windows and VMware administrator, or you can mention VMware technical consultant, or if you have any other roles like DevOps engineer or cloud administrator, cloud consultant, any designation you can mention, depends on your organization role. And then you can mention your total experience. Let's say I have a total 3 years of IT experience, or you can mention exact specific number accurately. That is the first point. And then you can start with coming to my roles and responsibilities. In this role, you can format the all the points, you can include all the points whatever you are working in your organization. Some cases we can mention that you can explain your organization infrastructure size. Like in my organization I have 400 plus ESXi hosts and 6000 virtual machines. I am responsible to maintaining all the virtual infrastructure. And then you can start with all the roles and responsibilities, like I have experience in ESXi host installation and configuration, and also the managing the virtual infrastructure, vCenter server, and all these points sample information I just highlighted here. But in general, all the roles and responsibilities you can manage to include your all regular roles and responsibilities. This is only sample format. Whatever your usual roles and responsibilities in your organization, those points you can prepare your short notes and go through the short notes. It will be helpful when we are attending the interview. And once we finish the roles and responsibilities, and the third point, you can highlight your technical skills. Let's say here I give an example of VMware NSXT, vRealize automation. And if you have any additional skills, like if you have a container platform experience, like container platform means we can have a Kubernetes, or you can include VMware Tanzu experience, or you can include Red Hat OpenShift container platform experience, or you can include a SUSE Rancher, or any of the AWS, EKS, AKS, whatever experience you have additionally apart from your roles and responsibilities, those additional technical skills you can also include in the interview. So I highlighted some additional skills here just as an example. And coming to the achievements, so in these achievements also, if you got any compliments from your senior management, or if you received any awards from your organization like a project star award, but here no need to mention your school and college level certifications. You can just include only the technical certification and any of your senior management or your customer appreciations. Okay, so some examples I mentioned in this slide deck. Okay, once we finish the achievements, and finally you can just greet the interviewer like thank you for giving me an opportunity, so that interviewer understand that you are finished the answer of answer for the tell me about yourself, they will go to the next question. So the next question will be like a, we may expect some questions from your resume. So they will review your resume. From your resume, they may ask a few questions, and some cases they may ask the questions based on the company job description. So most of the time they won't go out of the box. They ask the questions more onto your resume and a few questions from the job description. So thoroughly go through your resume. If any technical points, if you are unsure in your resume, better to eliminate those points from your resume. And if you have any additional skills, better to update your resume with latest skills. Okay, and the job description also you can go through, and sometimes job description may have some additional skills, and those additional skills you do not have a experience, that is also no need to worry. You can in the interview you can say currently I do not have experience on so and so additional skill, but if your project demands I can update myself. Like that you can answer to in the interview, so that interviewer understand that okay, this guy uh, have an attitude to enhance his technical skills. So they will identify your confidence level, and it may also help you to shortlist in the interview. Okay, now let's move on to the another point. What are the technical consultant roles? So in general, the technical consultant roles are in like a, it's a different type of roles. Roles are in general, it starts from level 0, level 1, level 2, level 3, and level 4. If you are a fresher, you are attending for an interview, the fresher level roles are like a, they will give you a system engineer or system administrator or normal consultant role. We can they can companies will provide. So until the 1 to 2 years will be like a level 0 only, and level 1 also have a equivalent designation system engineer, but some organization they may provide you a consultant role, and it is more than 2 years of experience. And some organizations they will provide a level 2, depends on your technical skill set and experience, they will provide a senior system engineer or senior consultant role. And once you have more than 5 years of IT experience, you may chance to get the designation for technical lead or team lead, or you may get a subject matter expert SME roles, you may get it. And if you have more than 8 years of IT experience, and you can also become a manager, if you are interested in your managerial roles you can go for manager role, or if you are interested for your technical roles you can go for as a solution architect, technical architect, or enterprise architect, and so on. Okay, I given the what is the most common roles in the IT infrastructure, but some role may change from organization to organization. Okay, but this from this basic example you can understand, depends on your years of experience you will get the relevant roles. Okay, and I will show you one sample format. So this sample format, let's say you have your education either a graduate or postgraduate, and 0 to 2 years of experience, you may get the basic role, which is business analyst, or you may get a normal apprentice kind of role. And if you have 3 to 10 years of experience, it's equivalent to consultant role. You may get the roles like a DevOps consultant, cloud consultant, system engineer, or system consultant. This type of role you may get it. And if you have more than 6 years of experience, there is a chance of getting a senior consultant role. And if you have more than 8 years of IT experience, it's equivalent to a manager role. Or if you're interested for technical roles, you will also chance to get a solution architect, or you may get a technical architect or enterprise architect, this kind of roles. And 10 to 20 years, you may get the principal consultant, and more than 20 years, there is a chance of getting a vice president role, chief architect, or chief partner kind of roles. And if you have more than 25 years of IT experience, or some cases depends on the organization size, you may chance to get the director role, senior director, and above all CIO, CTO, and CEO type of roles. And but this organization format is common for most of the organization, but only the role name or designation names may change. But this is the best example to understand. Okay, and why I am explaining this organization role sample format is, let's say you are working for a 5 years of IT experience in a same organization. But if you make sure that your experience and your designation and your salary it should be in the market standard, current market standards. Suppose if you are continuing for a same organization, you can just re-verify or do your self-analysis whether your years of experience and your designation and also the salary scale, is it matching to your current market standard or not. If it is not to matching to your market standard, either you can move within the organization, move to the different department or move to the different role. That is one method, and another method is you can try for the another job. Okay, that is a usually everyone used to do. Okay, but always remember, if you are expecting a better role and better income, make sure that our skill set also we have to improve. Let's say you have a one skill set is Windows skill, or one skill as a operating system skill, which is Windows, Linux or Solaris, and another skill set is VMware. Let's say 1 plus 1 equal to 2. You have two skills, you are getting the output as 2. 2 means you are getting a equivalent role and equivalent income. But in the same skills, Windows plus VMware, and the next year also you are doing the same skills, and but you want to expect instead of 2, you want to need a 3 or 4. If you are expecting your output 4, make sure that your input also should be enhanced. That means our skill sets also should be improved, because 1 plus 1 equivalent to 2 only. 1 plus 1 will not be a 3 or 4. If you are expecting 3 or 4, definitely our input skills must be improved. Let's say it's you have the skill Windows plus VMware, and you can also add any of the additional skills like NSXT, like network related skill, or you can include any of the cloud skill, or you can include any of the DevOps skill. Okay, when we started increasing your skills, definitely the more you learn, the more you earn. Your designation also will automatically change. Okay, so we'll move on to the next point now. So what is the evaluation of IT infrastructure? So this IT evaluation is keep improving. Even nowadays also we have a latest infrastructure. When compared to the 10 years ago, yeah, IT infrastructure was like a less automation. But when we compare now, we have a so many automation methods. Okay, all methodologies we can discuss now. Let's say in this diagram, if you see evaluation of IT infrastructure, just for our easy understanding, I given an example. We have one rack mount server here. This rack mount server is the started with rack mount server, and later on we have a updated servers that is looks like this. This is a blade server. This blade servers also within one server we have a multiple blades. So compared to single rack mount server, this is the advanced model of blade server. Even within a blade server also we have a better blade servers at present. For example, if we consider the one of the rack mount server is HPE. We have HPE rack mount server, and we also have a better blade HPE server that is called HPE Synergy. Okay, so same way, let's try to understand the how the evaluation in the IT infrastructure. Let's say in general, the previous IT infrastructure we call it as a traditional IT infrastructure. Within the traditional IT infrastructure, we have servers, network switches, network devices, and storage network and storage devices. That is a traditional infrastructure. Within the traditional infrastructure, to manage servers, we have a server administrators. For network administrators. For storage, we have a storage administrator. That is a traditional infrastructure. And later on, the traditional infrastructure is enhanced or improved to the virtualization. So it's evaluated is nothing but a developed. So traditional architecture is developed to the virtualization. So within the virtualization, we have a concepts called host-based virtualization, bare metal virtualization. Bare metal means we have a ESXi operating system. It is directly running on physical hardware. When we install ESXi on physical hardware, it will allows you to create a multiple virtual machine. So when we started using the virtualization concept, our all the hardware is completely better hardware utilized, and also our total infrastructure cost is reduced. That is the importance of virtualization. Why all the organization is started moving to virtualization means definitely there is a some OPEX benefit and CAPEX benefit. OPEX means operational expenditure benefit and capital expenditure benefit. Even our annual maintenance cost, AMC cost, is reduced. So if we have some benefits in virtualization, definitely organization will enhance it to the virtualization. And not only in a server level, even in the network level, there is a some advanced concepts like virtual switch, distributed virtual switch. These are in a network. And in a storage level also, we have a some advanced concepts like FC-SAN, iSCSI-SAN, and we also have a software defined storages and software defined network in virtualization. For server virtualization, the example is vSphere, and for network virtualization, example is NSXT. And for the we also have storage. For software defined storage, best example is virtual SAN. Okay, that is the main concepts in virtualization. And after the virtualization, there is another enhancement that is called converged infrastructure. Converged means whatever devices we have in the hardware layer, physical infrastructure layer, compute, network, and storage, any of two components are combined. That is nothing but a converged infrastructure. Suppose here I given two example. One is network and storage switch. That means the same switch we are using for a network devices and the same switch we are using for a storage devices. That is the converged. One switch combined and it's become as a network and storage switch. And another converged is pre-built validated stacks. Some of the devices it's combined with. That means server comes with a some storage disks. That is also converged infrastructure. And advanced to the converged infrastructure concept is software defined architecture. Within the software defined architecture, we also have some advanced concepts. But during the virtualization scenario, some network enhancements was not happened, but when comes to the software defined architectural, during this evolution we have a completely advanced concepts. Those concepts are, the main concept is starts with a HCI means hyper converged infrastructure. It's the same like converged infrastructure, but instead of normal operating system we are installing a hypervisor operating system. Hypervisor operating system means it can be a VMware ESXi. VMware hypervisor is ESXi. And similarly, either you can install a Microsoft Hyper-V, that is also hypervisor, and you can also install Nutanix AHV, Acropolis hypervisor, or you can install Oracle KVM. Any hypervisor is running on converged infrastructure, that is called hyper-converged infrastructure. And there is also some other software-defined infrastructure that is called composed infrastructure. This composed infrastructure also called, like example is HPE Synergy. This is considered as a composed infrastructure. And we also have software defined network. Previous virtualization time we have NSXV, but when comes to the latest software defined architecture, NSXV was completely outdated product. Now we are, all companies have started moving to NSXT. NSXT means it's NSX transformers. It's a network hypervisor product. We can also call it a software defined network product. And similarly, software defined storage, in short form SDS. Software defined storage means examples are VMware Virtual SAN, that is one example, and we also have VMware Virtual Volumes, vVol, and from the Nutanix also providing a software defined storage. And these all are, suppose in your organization you are using a software defined compute, software defined network, and software defined storage. Your organization infrastructure, we call it as a SDDC. SDDC means software defined data center. And later there is some enhancements to this architecture, that is the cloud based models. Even within cloud based models we have private cloud, public cloud, hybrid cloud, and multi cloud. And these definitions I will show you in the following slide. What is the importance of private, public, and hybrid and multi cloud? And again, for this cloud based models also, there is some additional improvements, that is the serverless architecture. Now organization is already moving to the serverless architecture. Here the main concepts are container platform, and that means it's a Kubernetes and function as a service. And we also have cloud functions, AWS Lambda and Azure functions. And from this evaluation of IT infrastructure, suppose you have a 1 years of IT experience or 2 years of IT experience, just understand this concept of how the IT infrastructure is evaluated. And if you have a 5 years of IT experience or more than 8 years of IT experience, just compare your skill set, whether you have a knowledge of traditional virtualization converged, or you have knowledge until software defined architecture. Just start improving your new latest skills also. It will be helpful when attending the interviews. Suppose your journey is until the virtualization and started enhance your software defined architecture SDDC knowledge, and also you can start to include enhance your knowledge on cloud. If you are in a traditional architecture knowledge, better to enhance your skill set to virtualization skill set. It will be improve your skill set from one level up, and same way the remaining skill set also. That's the reason I'm giving you a complete big picture of evaluation of IT infrastructure. Okay, so this IT infrastructure is the complete era. So present latest trend is on container platform and function as a service, and also the multi-cloud hybrid cloud are still in the market. Okay, so hope you understand this important point. Now let's move on to the next point. What is evolution of cloud-based models? Just now we discussed cloud-based models. So let me elaborate the definitions for all the cloud-based models. So cloud also earlier usually it starts with a private cloud. Normally when your organization IT infrastructure is in your organization and you are providing some services to your customers, that is nothing but a hosting services. And later on, these namings are changed from hosting services to some consulting services, and some consulting services to they change the name to private cloud. So private cloud is nothing but a it's owned and managed by the IT organization, and it is a cloud computing that is dedicated exclusively to your organization. It's not to your any of the external, but we are providing a consulting service from our organization, and you are providing access only to your dedicated customers. That is nothing but a private cloud. And when comes to the public cloud, it's managed by the cloud service providers. In short form we call it as CSP, cloud service providers. So it's a cloud computing that delivers via internet and shared across organizations. So this public cloud is accessible to the all the organization, but we have to get the subscription account, and you can access only through the internet. And public cloud in the current market, most popular vendors for the public cloud is we have AWS, Amazon Web Services, and we also have Microsoft Azure and Google Cloud. It's a call it as GCP, Google Cloud Platform. When comes to the private cloud, in the private cloud also we have the most popular vendors are VMware VCF, VMware Cloud Foundation. We call it as VCF. And we also have other vendors like AWS also most popular for public cloud, but in the recent years when we are reviewing the IT articles and all, we AWS also entering to the public cloud market. AWS public private cloud product name is AWS Outpost, and for Azure also they enter to the private cloud market. That product name call it as AWS Azure Stack, Azure Stack HCI, Azure Stack Arxo. These are all the Azure related private cloud concepts. I repeat, for AWS, private cloud product name is AWS Outpost, and for Azure, private cloud concept is called as Azure Stack. Okay, and even Google also started moving to the private cloud, that is called it as Google Anthos. Okay, so you started enhance your knowledge. If you already have a skill set on private, you can improve on public cloud. If you already have experience on public cloud, started improving knowledge on private cloud. The reason is some organization already started using a combination of private and public cloud. If your organization is running with both private and public, that is nothing but a hybrid cloud. So nowadays booming is keep changing, all the technologies are keep moving to the latest one. So organization applications also, they are not only running on private cloud, they are running few applications on public, few applications on private. And if your organization is using both private and public, means your organization structure is called it as a hybrid cloud infrastructure. So as a systems engineer or cloud consultant, we have to learn the skills. And now advanced to the hybrid cloud is nothing but a multi-cloud. So the name itself, it says multi-cloud. That means it's the combination of a hybrid cloud and any additional cloud. If you have any additional public cloud or any additional private cloud, that is nothing but a multi-cloud. But you may ask the question, why I need to go for a multi-cloud? Let's say our production applications, most critical applications I am running on my private cloud because it's a more secure. All the data should not be um, wanted to maintain in a public. You can keep it in the private cloud. And the less critical test VMs and development VMs, if you want to keep it in the public, let's okay, you can keep it in the public cloud. Let's say I want to move my test and development service in a public cloud, which is AWS. Okay, but my organization need a some software as a service products like a Microsoft Office 365. So Office 365 I'm started using from a Microsoft vendor. That means in this example, my on-premises infrastructure, let's say I'm using VMware VCF, VMware Private Cloud, and for public cloud test and development VMs, I'm using a Azure or AWS. Let's say take the example of AWS. But for my all my organization users, MS Office, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook and all, I took the subscription from Microsoft Office 365. That means within my organization, I have VMware Cloud, I have a AWS instances, and also have a software as a service from a Azure. That means three vendors are running within my organization. That means your organization infrastructure is more relevant to the multi-cloud. So this is the one example, and maybe there may be some different scenarios to the other organization. Like your all production is running on private cloud, all your backups are running on a public cloud. Even public cloud also, some VMs or some site VMs are in a AWS, some VMs are in a Google Cloud, and some VMs are in a Azure. Why I need to maintain a different infrastructure means some scenarios your organization may for security reasons some may maintain in one cloud, some may maintain in another public cloud. Even during this example also, if your organization started using multiple public cloud and one private cloud also, it's relevant to the multi-cloud solution. Okay, so hope you clear about the evolution of cloud based models. Now let's talk about the another important point. What is the evolution of modern applications? Okay, this is also one of the key item we have to understand. So the evolution of modern application, let's start with the year around 1980 to 1990. Almost the 10 years our on premises are nothing but our data center only. It's running with a physical servers, operating system and applications, and most of the applications running on a single server only. And this application structure we call it as a monolithic applications, and with these applications most of the time web app db all are running on a single server. But later on in 2000 until 2009, this IT infrastructure process is changed, that is call it as hosted infra, and we can also call it as IaaS. That means infrastructure as a service. Within this infrastructure as a service, we also started using a hypervisor platform, and that is called VMware ESXi, or you can use Microsoft Hyper-V and Nutanix AHV or Oracle KVM. But in the compared to all other virtualization vendors, VMware ESXi is the leading provider of virtualization software. That's why I took the example of ESXi. On top of ESXi, you can configure a multiple virtual machine. That is the era in a 2009 virtualization is started. But in this scenario, our application pattern also changed from monolithic pattern to it changed to the multi-tier application structure. That means instead of configuring on a single monolithic server, they divided web will be one VM and app will be another application VM and database will be in another database VM. So this one monolithic divided into a tier based application. Okay, not only three tier web app DB, you can configure as a multiple tiers depends on your application requirement. Okay, and 2010 to present, the present already every infrastructure changed to the cloud based models. We have multiple models: private cloud, public, hybrid and multi cloud. Depends on our customer needs, we can use the relevant cloud based models. And also application pattern also changed. Earlier we have tier based application, now completely all applications are in a container based applications. And also the layer of application monolithic to multi tier layers. Now it's changed to the microservices architecture. Microservices means it's like one best example is, let's say in our vRealize automation VMware software VRA, in our 7 series VRA is running on a multiple servers. Around we require 14 servers to run a one VRA application. But when comes to the latest version vRealize automation 8 series 8.8, the complete operating system architecture is changed to the container based architecture, or we call it as a microservices architecture. That means all VRA major application major services are divided into microservices. It's a completely Kubernetes based architecture, or we call it as microservices architecture. Okay, and in order to develop this application process, the development process in our previous traditional model is like a waterfall model. In waterfall model we have some drawbacks. If you want to modify any of the layer or any of the level development phase, it's a challenges to develop or challenges to modify in your development code. That is a drawbacks in a waterfall model. So in 2000 to 2009 era, the development process has been changed to agile model. So agile development process here, some of the whatever challenges we have in a waterfall model, that challenges are addressed in a agile development process. When comes to 2010 to 2010 to present, this again development process is updated to DevOps. So this DevOps development process model is completely the latest one. So whatever challenges we have in agile, these agile challenges are addressed in DevOps development process model. Okay, and DevOps also separate new concept. In our latest sessions, I explain in detail. Okay, even containers, microservices, we'll discuss in detail in the later sessions. But here I'm trying to give you a brief overview of evaluation of modern applications. Okay, let's continue the some more differences in evaluation of modern application. So the definition of application has changed or improved, and application used to build as a monolithic. Monolithic means one application running on one server. That application is considered as a monolithic application. Like a application is single or larger code bases. Okay, and developer can access the that monolithic application. But in the modern apps, all are built with your microservices and API, application program interfaces. Small modular code bases are easy to update, to replace, to innovate. And developer now can access API gateway. Through API gateway you can access, or they can access through REST API, web user interface, and also the other models they can access. And building application as microservice as encouraged to use of containers. And as per the recent surveys, what recommendation is, most companies run containers on VMs. More than 85% of containers run on virtual machines only. So even container application not recommend to run on bare metal, it's recommend to run on a virtual machines only. Okay, this is about the evaluation of modern application. Now let's talk about the another question. What is a software defined data center? So this is also one of the common questions. Some interviews you may expect this question. Can you explain about SDDC? If they say SDDC means, don't confuse, SDDC is nothing but a software defined data center. So here is the brief overview. In software defined data center, all infrastructure is virtualized and the control of the data center is automated by software. Even one key point here is software defined. When your data center become as a software defined, so software means it's also easy to automate. So that point only highlighted here. The control of the data center is automated by software, and vSphere is the foundation of SDDC. So this is the main foundation product for SDDC. Foundation product is vSphere, and here is a high level SDDC overview. Normally in a physical infrastructure we have a compute, storage, network. Compute means the physical infrastructure, but when comes to the virtual infrastructure, the compute virtual infrastructure product name is vSphere ESXi, and storage virtual infrastructure product name is virtual SAN, and network virtual infrastructure name is, it's a NSXT. And virtual infrastructure, normally we have hypervisor, resource pool, pool of resources, and virtualization control. And when we have a software defined virtual infrastructure, it's easy to automate as well. So for automation also we require some additional tools, that is called cloud automation tool. That cloud automation tool will provide a services called service catalog, self service portal, and orchestration. And in general, this cloud automation tool name called VMware vRealize automation, in short form VRA. This VRA is like a embedded with vRealize orchestration. Okay. And in order to operate all your infrastructure, physical, virtual, and cloud automation, we also require a cloud operation tools. For the cloud operations, we can use the tools monitoring. For the monitoring, either you can use VMware monitoring tool, which is vRealize Operations Manager, or if you want to use a third-party monitoring tool, like you can use SolarWinds NPM, Network Performance Monitor, or you can use any of the other third-party tools like Nagios, CA Arc7 and all. And logging also required when you are performing a cloud operations. For log management, either you can use a VMware vRealize login site, that is in short form VRLI, or you can use any of the third party tools like SolarWinds Kiwi log collector, or any of the other tools also we can use. And the life cycle management is nothing but all your infrastructure up to date, like managed with the updates and upgrades. If you want to update your ESXi host, virtual machines, vCenter server and all, we can update using a LCM tool. That LCM is nothing but a lifecycle management, or we can say lifecycle manager. And also, to maintain your organization business continuity, we need to have some business continuity process. That is nothing but we need to maintain all your infrastructure with fault tolerance, enable virtual machine fault tolerance for the critical virtual machine, and also maintain disaster recovery. If you have your organization running on data center 1, you can create a data center 2 mainly for disaster recovery purpose. And your all production backup, production VMs, and all your application, we should always maintain the daily backup, and whenever any incident happen, we get ready to do the restore. And replication also one of the recommended business continuity. Either you can use the third party replication tools, or you can implement the replication process in a storage area. And another key part in the SDDC is security and compliance. For the security and compliance also, we have to use the identity and access management. Some organization, they may maintain some internal access management tools, or you can use any of the other third party tools, or whatever the customer is comfortable, you can use the relevant access control matrix tools. Okay. And industry regulations also to maintain some security and compliance, and the security policies. So these are all the uh, commonly used in a software data center overview. And why I explained all this is, let's say you are attending for interview, your actual core skill is VMware. But in interview, you not only focusing on the technical part, sometimes in the interview, you may expect some relevant questions related to monitoring, some are related to log, some life cycle management. They may also ask you how your organization maintaining the disaster recovery, and what are all the tools your organization is using for security and compliance. So you should have some idea on how, for security, let's say Trend Micro. You can mention in the interview, in my organization we are using Trend Micro for security. And for vulnerability assessment, any of the tools your organization is using, you should have some basic idea on security and compliance. Okay. Now, let's move on to the another key point, VMware technical consultant key objectives. Here, I'm mainly focusing on our core competencies VMware. Who are VMware technical consultant? For them, the more relevant key objectives are covered with all these points. Let's say the key concepts include ESXi, vCenter server, and also the networking concepts, storage switches. And from when it comes to the storage concepts, we have iSCSI, NFS, and VMS, and content library, and also the vCenter features. These are all the some key objectives for VMware technical consultant. When you are attending the interview, better first you understand all your conceptual knowledge and go through your conceptual knowledge. This knowledge only help you to clear your interview. And even if you want to go through some important questions also, before reading the all important questions, my personal advice is first understand the core concept of VMware. Uh, we should know how to install the ESXi, how to configure and how to manage, and then understand the vCenter server, how to install, how to configure, and how to manage. And then you can focus on the Let's say if you're familiar with ESXi host install configure manage and vCenter install configure manage, and the third step is when we familiar with management concept, even though if the ESXi host install having some issue, the troubleshooting part also it's easy to understand. Whenever we are familiar with the technical concept, it's easy to answer whatever the scenario or questions interviewer ask. Let's say the high level features of vCenter server inventory is here. In vCenter server, we have so many inventory object features and integrations. For example, in this slide, I just highlighted few inventory objects. The inventory objects are like VMware Virtual Appliance Management Interface, data center, hosting clusters, VMs and templates. Storage, we have a two types of file system, NFS and VMFS, networking. So these are all the main concepts in inventory objects in vCenter. But in interview, they may ask any one object, or they may provide you some scenario. From that scenario we have to pick the answer. For example, let's say the concept is host profile, but in the host profile in the interview they will not ask directly can you explain about host profile. They will provide you one scenario. For example, let's say I have a 10 ESX host, 10 new ESX host in my organization. One ESX host, if you want to do a configuration of networking, storage, and all the ESXi host configuration portion, it may take around 1 hour. And I also have another 9 ESXi hosts. If I want to speed up my configuration part for the 9 ESXi hosts, how you can configure it quickly? Like this, they will form a question. So in this scenario, the relevant answer for this is we have you can mention in the interview. For this scenario, I can create a one host profile for the first ESXi host. That host profile I can associate to the attach to the remaining 9 ESXi hosts. When we attach to the 9 ESXi hosts, you no need to spend for additional 9 hours. Within few minutes we can finish the configuration for rest of the 9 ESXi hosts. Like that you can answer. First understand the scenario, whatever the scenario we are facing. From the when the interviewer asks for any scenario, just understand scenario, and whatever concept we are familiar, just match that concept in the specific scenario. Okay, suppose, let's say interviewer may ask the question is, present my ESXi host, this same 10 ESXi host, I want to do a update, or I want to do a upgrade. So what is the main feature I can use to perform the ESXi host update and upgrades? You can say one of the feature is called lifecycle manager. Using lifecycle manager, I can perform the ESXi host update and upgrades. That is the answer. So that is the reason what my personal experience is. When you get the conceptual knowledge, it's easy to answer any question. Okay, and now some additional features, vCenter features are hot add, folders, VM snapshot, clone, template, resource pool, and also the VApp schedule task. These are all the vSphere features. Even in this scenario also, sometimes let's say the customer is says my current storage box is old model of storage box. I want to move all my virtual machines to new model of storage box. That storage model, they may provide you that storage model like HP and Nimble or any third party tool storage boxes. In the interview they will mention the storage box models, but you can try to understand the concept. The interviewer question is, they want to move their production workload VMs from old model storage box to new model storage box. So as a VMware consultant, how you can migrate? Is it require any downtime, or how we can perform the migration? These are the scenario they will give. So as per the interviewer question, the scenario is the actual scenario. They want to migrate VMs from old storage box to new storage box. And also they are questioning, is it require any downtime? But here we have to understand, if you have a knowledge on vSphere feature, one of the feature is called storage vMotion. The storage vMotion definition is moving the running virtual machines from one data store to another data store. So this concept is the relevant for this scenario. You can explain in the interview, you can explain to the interviewer, we can use VMware vCenter storage vMotion feature. Using storage vMotion, I can able to migrate the running virtual machines from old storage box to new storage box without a downtime. So without downtime means there is no need to power down your virtual machine, you can successfully migrate from old storage to new storage. That is the answer. But the only condition is, if you want to migrate from old storage new storage, first create a new data store from the new storage box and add that new data store to our vCenter server. When we add a new data store, and we can easily migrate the virtual machine from old data store to new data store. Old data store to new data store, how we migrate is using the SV motion technique. Okay. So like this, we have all the vCenter features. With interest of our time, I'm not explaining all the features because all these features and functionalities I covered in the previous session. Suppose if you want to each individual topic, if you want to listen, you can just go to my channel Gnant Cloud Garage and go to the playlist. You will find each and every topic clear explanations. Okay, so this is about the overview of vCenter server inventory object features and integration. So if you have this all conceptual knowledge, it's easy to crack the interview. Now, another key point, another question is, what are the key areas for technical consultant role? So for technical consultant, not only our technical skills, we also need some additional knowledge. That additional knowledge points I will cover now. So every organization, they may always look for a automation. So as a technical consultant, you should also learn how we are going to do your regular operations, how we can move for a service improvement plans. If you did any automation, that point you can highlight in the interview. Sometimes in interview they will ask, have you did any automations in your organization? So if you did any reporting automation, or if you did any of the scripting kind of automation, you can explain in the interview. And some other automation tools are like lifecycle manager, LCM task, you can explain. And also if you prepared any scripts after post patching for all the virtual machines power up or not, or all the virtual machine ping status is fine or not, if you prepared any basic scripts, those scripts explanation you can did in the automation portion. And BAU is nothing but a commonly used word. BAU means business as usual. So most of the organization, they maintain some ITL process. Within the ITL process, the terminology is like looks like this: availability management. Like within our vCenter, any availability feature means it's a HA and fault tolerance. And incident management. Incident management is nothing but if any ESXi host is down or virtual machine is down, how you are managing the incidents and all. Like this, the interviewer, they may ask the question. You can say, in my organization for incident management, we are using the ServiceNow tool, or you can mention other tool like we are using a remedy tool. This remedy tool will help us when the ESXi host is down, we'll get the automatic notification, so that we'll start working on the ESX down issue or virtual machine down issue. That is how you can explain the process. And some scenario, they will ask the change management. Can you explain about the change management process? You can say, when we plan to do any change on ESXi host and production virtual machine or application, for any change like ESXi host uh, updates, version update and version upgrade, and also guest OS level upgrade, update and upgrades, and application level update and upgrades, we are used to prepare a change request. And this is the process we are following in the current organization. If your organization have any specific process for change management, you can explain that process clearly. Okay, because some processes are different from organization to organization. And another point is service request management. Even service request is nothing but let's say your customer want to create a 10 virtual machine. That is nothing but a service request. So customer may ask any of the service requests, like if they want to create 10 snapshots for 10 virtual machines. That is also service request. And they want to create a clone for a specific production VM. That is also one service request. Okay. If you have any similar kind of examples in your organization, if you are performing, those examples you can explain in a service request management scenario. Okay. And the capacity management, some interviews you may also get the questions on capacity management layer. For this capacity management, you can explain whatever experience you have for the capacity perspective. I given few examples here. Some are doing the capacity management on rack sizing. Let's say you have a 10 racks in your organization, but in the future you want to add some new physical servers. That means that our rack, we need to validate existing racks have enough space or not. If there is no enough space on our rack, we need to order for a new racks. That is nothing but a rack sizing and managing the capacity in a racks level. And similarly, we have to do the capacity management on compute level. We can manage the capacity on the network layer, storage layer, and also licenses also. Let's say your organization have some Microsoft Visual licenses. These Visual licenses you assign for some application teams. But this application team, we need to validate whether all the users are started using the Visual license or not. If the license are not fully utilized, you can revoke those license and provide give it to the another application team who are is really required. This kind of application metering or licensing, sizing, capacity management also, usually capacity manager will take care of all these roles. But as a technical consultant, we should have some idea whenever the customer or when any of our manager internal management team asks to provide the report for all your license information, we can extract from the your respective tool and extract those details and provide to the management team or respective customers. Okay. And applications, even applications also, if you want to export all your application details, if your organization is using any of the Microsoft SCCM tool or any other third party tool, using those tools you can export your application data. This data will help us whether your applications end of any of the end of support or end of license is nearby. You can validate your report, and if any license is going to expire within the 6 months, again your capacity we have to add your licenses, additional licenses for application the coming year. So this type of forecast requirement for the application licensing and any of the other infrastructure devices, that is all management is considered as a capacity management. Now, another point is within the key topics involves change management and incident management. Normally, for change management, any CR will have these four topics: pre-implementation, implementation procedure, post-implementation, and rollback plan. And even incident management, normally in every organization have a three levels of team: level 1 team, level 2 team, level 3 team. For basic issues, it will assign to L1, and medium level issues, it will assign to the level 2, and critical issues, it will be assigned to the level 3 engineers. Okay. And most of the time level 1 level 2 team, if they are unable to resolve any of the issue, they will escalate it to the level 3. Okay. And our final end goal will be all the issues should be analyzed and we need to provide a solution. And some, if it is a critical issue, customer may expect the root cause analysis. So this process also, some of the interviews they may ask you, can you explain about the incident management process? So I given one example, whatever process your organization have, that process you should be ready to explain. Apart from your technical skills, these additional topics also we have to learn. And the security management also, I highlighted some VMFS, vulnerability management system. And if you have any annual security audit specific topics, you can highlight. And sometime the audit may be internal audit or external audits. And also documentation also important. Standard operating procedure, suppose even if you did some documentation within your organization, those points also you can highlight in the interview scenario. If you did any important documents, you can highlight. As a technical consultant, I prepared so many SOPs in my organization. It helpful to my L1 team and L2 team to work on it effectively, efficiently, and optimized way. And update and upgrades also some main concepts, because most of the our L1 and L2 team, they focus on the update and upgrade is the one of their roles and responsibilities. This will be covered the infrastructure layer and also the hardware firmware updates and operating system upgrade and also the application updates. Application means is nothing but like a database if you want to upgrade from old version to new version. Okay. These are all the key topics for technical consultants. Now, let's move on to the next question: how to become a solution architect? This is the most frequently few of my ex-colleagues and friends usually asked how to become a solution architect. Based on my experience, I'm just giving the answer for this. In general, in IT infrastructure, there will be a multiple towers. We have a towers like compute, network, backup storage, automation, security, and application. So for compute, there will be a separate team. Network team we have separately, and backup and storage team separately. Automation is separately, and security team and application team. If you want to become a solution architect, based on my experience, what I understand is, if you have any minimally two tower experience, let's say your core skill is compute VMware skill, if you have some additional knowledge on network, or if you have additional knowledge on any of the other towers like backup and storage, if you are interested, apart from our core one core skill, if you added any additional skill, those two skills should be strong. That will be enough to become a solution architect, because in the solution architect, in the interview, they will focus on all these towers. If you have two skills, strong knowledge and the basic knowledge on remaining towers, it's easy to crack the solution architect interview. Okay, here I highlighted based on our discussion, previous discussion. Traditional, I highlighted servers and blades, network devices, and backup and storage devices. And automation means previously it is nothing but a scripting model. But when comes to the virtualization model, the scripting models and all updated as a with the tools, which is vRealize automation, VRO. And antivirus software is in general security in the traditional model. But in the latest model, we are using some other softwares, and also we are using NSXT and some third-party tools for a enhanced security. And also the application level, also some application layer also changed in the virtualization model. And in the private cloud model, we have virtualization, containers also enhanced. Within the public cloud, there will be some additional microservices like AKS, EKS, and function as a services. And these concepts also change from private cloud to public cloud. But if you are attending for a private cloud solution architect, you should focus on the private cloud layer. And if you're attending for a public cloud solution architect layer, at least two towers should be strong enough. That should be your core competency. And the remaining towers, you should have some basic skills. It's easy to crack the solution architect interview. Okay, so now let's move on to the what are the solution architect key responsibilities. Within the solution architect, key responsibilities include these key responsibilities are mainly for a licensing portion. So we have to have a knowledge on licensing, how VMware licensing work, how the operating system license in Windows, and how operating system license in Linux, Solaris, and any of the other flavors. And we should have knowledge on pricing information as well. That pricing information should be up to date. And also there will be some combination of pricing detail. As a solution architect, we should understand licensing and pricing information, and also the sizing. Sizing is nothing but a capacity management. We should also have a knowledge on capacity management. That is also one of our responsibility. And solutioning. When we go for a customer conversation, based on the customer challenges, either a business challenge or a technical challenges, first gather the customer requirement. And as a solution architect, one of our responsibility is based on their customer business challenge, we should be ready with find out which is the best solution. Okay, within technical perspective, let's say customer having a one data center, but they do not have a disaster recovery process, but they are asking a question, how do I maintain a disaster recovery? Either you can provide a multiple solutions, depends on the customer's budget. You can suggest to maintain a secondary site, that is a traditional solution. But customer don't want to maintain a second site, that time you can suggest to the customer, we can maintain a second site in a either private cloud or public cloud. And when we are selecting private and public cloud also, we need to provide a multiple solution to customer, and depends on their budget, they will finalize one solution. Okay, and even container platform also, suppose nowadays all the applications are moved from uh, tier based application to microservice container platform. Even when you engaging your customer may interested to move to the container platform. As a solution architect, you can provide the solution how VMware vSphere Tanzu is worked. VMware Tanzu is one of the enterprise Kubernetes platform. After we provide information of VMware Tanzu licensing and pricing information, customer may not, some scenario, some customer they may satisfy, and some scenario, if the customer may not have the equivalent budget, they may go for any of the less price of product, or they may go for a open source product. Usually they will first step into the open source product like Kubernetes. Kubernetes is an open source product. There is no support. If you're looking for a enterprise Kubernetes, you can go for a third party tool. So in general, the customer as a POC, proof of concept, or as a initial step, baby steps, they will start with a open source tool. Once they are satisfied with the open source, if they really want to move their production application to production, definitely they will go for a enterprise Kubernetes. For enterprise Kubernetes in the current market, we have few private cloud enterprise products like VMware Tanzu, we have a Red Hat OpenShift container platform, and SUSE Rancher. When we present this tool to the customer, at the end of the day, the decision is dependent by customer. Customer has to validate the pricing, licensing, and also the technical challenges. For technical perspective, as a solution architect, we are the trust advisor to the customer. We need to provide the all technical difficulties, pricing, and licensing information for all the private cloud enterprise Kubernetes platform information. When we present all this information to customer, so customer will compare, okay, which is the best choice for my. Some organization may go for SUSE, some organization may go for Red Hat OpenShift, and some organization they may go for a VMware Tanzu. Let's say customers say, I don't want a private cloud environment, I want to go for a public cloud container platform. When they specifically ask for public cloud, even the public cloud also we have a multiple options. For example, you may give us AWS AKS, AWS EKS, sorry, and Azure also have a AKS, Azure Kubernetes service, and AWS have a EKS, Elastic Kubernetes service, and even similarly Google also have a Kubernetes service. So when we present this three solution, customer requirement we know, but as a solution architect we need to provide a comparison between the AKS, EKS, and also the Google's Kubernetes service. When we provide the technical justification and also the licensing and pricing information, customer will validate, and if they have enough budget, and also the once they provide the our solution, once we when we provide the solution, if the customer is satisfied, they will pick one solution. Okay, but the decision will be like a customer's choice only. But as a solution architect, we mustn't have a knowledge on all the solutions, specifically for how we can provide a solution in a data protection perspective, how we can provide solution in a virtualization perspective, and how we can provide solution in a container platform perspective. Okay, so that is about the brief overview of solutioning. And hardware compatibility, this is also one of our responsibility. When we are providing one solution to, let's say, container platform, you plan to run on a bare metal. When we plan to run on a bare metal, we need to validate which are the hardware models are compatible to run your container platform on bare metal. And similarly, product compatibility is nothing but a, let's say your organization is using a VMware virtual platform. Within your organization you want to place additional automation tools and additional monitoring tools, additional network devices. Before placing the all the additional products, all your products versions must have a compatibility with each other. That responsibility also one of our solution architect responsibility. And we also learned about the proposal, the short form RFP. And also request for proposal RFPs is like a, we have to provide a RFPs to the customer when we project before project signing. And we need to provide some bidding informations like technical bidding, or sometime they may ask for request for information, RFI also they will ask. Okay, and also they will look for a ROI, that is nothing but a return on investment. These are all the high level key responsibilities, not only limited to this eight, there will be so many additional responsibilities for the solution architects. And another key concept for commonly for solution architect is, every customer they may look for a cloud solutions. So common cloud solution is like a hybrid cloud solution, especially these days. And moving the dev workload to public with automation, this is also one common solution. And wherever their infrastructure, either private on premises or public, always customer expectation is five nines, like 99.99% availability for their production applications. And also some customers these days they started asking about the stretched cluster. So as a solution architect, we should learn this concept, stretched cluster concept. And this concept I will explain in the later session, at a separate session for stretched cluster I will show you. And heartbeat placing and load balancer, some may use the existing load balancer. Some customer they may use software defined load balancer like NSXT load balancer, or they may use AVA load balancer or NSX advanced load balancer. Some may go for FI load balancer or any other third party load balancer. But as a solution architect, we should have to learn this concept load balance, because it's a commonly when we submitting a solution to customer, load balance also one of the key item. And routing, and also companies tool state. Suppose you are working for a one product based organization, your organization already have a some specific tool set. So as a solution architect, you should develop your knowledge on specific to your company tool set first, and then you can enhance your knowledge in a other tools also. And core based licensing. Core based is licensing nothing but some companies, when we are going for a VMware or any other Nutanix AHV or some other third party tool, they are providing a licensing in a core based, that means CPU core based licensing. So these concepts also we have to learn. What is the differences from one vendor core based licensing, and some vendor may go for a memory based licensing. It depends on the organization. And this also we should be ready before we go for a customer conversation. Even in the interview also, all these questions you may expect. They may tweak the questions. Once you are familiar with these concepts, it's easy to answer. Now, another key points are projects. So the projects are, before attending the solution architect interview, you should be ready. Whatever projects you did previously, minimally 5 to 10 projects should be, keep it in your mind, and you should be prepared for those projects, and you can explain easily in the interview. I just highlighted few projects like HPE Simplicity with vCloud Suite, and NSX V2T migration, and VRE upgrade, and also traditional data center moving to the hybrid cloud, and any of the normal minimal operation related 6 to 10 projects if you did any concurrent projects like OS upgrades, tech refresh, and also DC migration activities, and any updates and upgrades, major upgrades if you did, all those projects you should keep it handy, or keep it in your mind so that it's easy to answer in the interview. Not only this, and one key preparation part for the solution architect is whatever your roles and responsibilities you did in your organization, try to shift all your roles and responsible to as a achievements when we attending the interview. And also, what are all the benefit you provided to your customer and project, those benefits also you can highlight in the interview, because it is one of the impressive point. And also, if you have did any solution, just be prepare and prepare one short notes for your all real-time scenarios of solutions, whatever the solutions you have experience, and additional solutions you can just prepare short note, make it ready. It will be helpful to answer in the interview perspective. Okay, hope you will understand all the key responsibilities. Now, and finally, question is, what are the key items for project handover checklist? This project handover checklist also one of the important point. Normally, either you are in a L1 or L2 or L3 or in L4 level role. These are all the common items when we are handovering the project, or when you are providing a knowledge transition, or when you are engaging a new customer. What are all the information we need to collect? Those scenarios, even in the interview also, they may ask this question. Let's say we are going to assign you a new project, and what are all the main information you collect from the customer, or what are all the information you will get it from the stakeholders. So that question, if you want to answer, these points are the useful points. And here I highlighted the 14 points. Well, first thing is, even if we are getting a new project, the before handovering the project, we need all the access management. What are all the login accounts they have, like root account, and also the Windows administrator account, or any other accounts, and specifically to the service account database service account informations. And we also need a architectural design document. What is the architecture they are maintaining, that design document is needed. And are there any VM encryption process is enabled, that encryption process details we have to collect. And backup software and schedule information, and what is their CMDB, configuration management database, and what is their reporting structure for daily, weekly, and monthly. And data center location, how about that customer data center location, how many locations they have, and escalation matrix, and also the hardware models, any specific hardware models they are using. We need to collect those hardware models. Hardware model means either it is server model or network device, firewall device, load balance. All the hardware models we have to collect. And also IT, information security management, ITSM model process. If they are following any specific process, we need to get to know that process. And annual security audit informations, and as well as monitoring and operating system flavors. And similarly, I added until the 27 checklist item, but it's not limited to 27. Even in the interview, you no need to remember all these points. On minimally at least 10 points you can highlight in the interview. These are all the key items we need to hand over when when we are doing the project handover or knowledge transition from a new customer or stakeholders. These points are very useful to answer in the interview. perspective. And the 15 point, let's talk about 15 point, like patch management process. Definitely every organization have a different patch management process. And product names and license information, if they are using any products, like that project is around 60 products they are using, all the products and license information we should collect. And that project specific SLA detail, any specific SLA for availability perspective and performance perspective, and any hardening documents if they have, we need to collect. And any specific server functionality architecture information, and all the servers inventory list, and also the service request management, how they are following SOPs, and standard naming conventions also important. And the technical design document also important for compute storage and network perspective. And tender specs, this is also very important. What is the our customer project tender specs, that is the key for all these items. And also vendor support details, like if you have vendor support for Microsoft, get the vendor support detail. VMware support, any other third party application vendor support details we need to collect. And if you have any standard templates, all the template information also you can gather. This is the high level overview of project handover checklist. But in the interview, they won't ask direct question, what is a project handover checklist. They may tweak that question, they may give you multiple scenario question. Understand the scenario, you can highlight these few points. Okay, so that's it for today. Hopefully I covered all the main important 10 questions today, and the technical deep dive questions and all I will cover in the next session. That's it for today. Thank you, and thanks for your support. And please do view, like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Okay, bye for now.